Remember this day, man, for it will be yours for all time. We have shown them that a trembling hand can become a fist. We have challenged the idea that a slave must always know his place, excepting Rod and Lash because he was taught to accept it. We built their mighty republic with our hands and our blood and our lives. And we can see it fall at equal cost. You opened my eyes to this, Spartacus.
Narcissists use social media as a way to target you, collect data, and then devalue you, and then inevitably stalk you. You see, long before you meet the narcissist, they're already looking at your social media, going over all of the things that you post, who you interact with, the things you like, and kind of what your habit is, so they can get into the mindset, and then they can show up and start portraying that you guys are compatible, that you have similar interests because of X, Y, and Z. Now, when you start to go through the devaluation phase, this is when you start to notice that the narcissist is interacting with everybody else on social media but you. They're liking the opposite sex's their posts, they're commenting, they're in stories, they're in DMs, all of this, but they're not liking your stuff. They're taking 3-4 days to like your stuff. They never comment on it. And you're just like, what's going on? We used to always comment on each other's posts, but now you never comment, but you'll comment on these people. And then this is when they start the whole Darbo thing. And then last but not least, when you decide to leave the narcissist or the narcissist discards you, this is when they start to stalk you. Narcissists hate to lose their victims and their supply. So if you walked away from the narcissist or they discard you, they start to watch you on social media through fake accounts, through...
It would be magnificent if you got to see their downfall. But, this is a big ass but, have you considered that a narcissist lives their karma every single day? Think about how tiring it has to be to keep up with lies. To not feel worthy enough with one person so undeserving of love that you need multiple supplies. Just to feed your need for validation in your life. That you actually matter. That they are so fucking scared of vulnerability that they have to try and break the will of others who question their intentions. So in time, all the looks, the great sex, the charming qualities, the beauty, the smooth talking fades, all that shit fades away. And all they're left with is the shell of someone who tries too hard, doesn't have anyone that actually loves them into old age, disillusioned and estranged from their real friends and family. Does that sound like it'll age well? That it'll love well? Like it's a healthy and non-stressful ass place to wake up and be every single day? To always be in constant battle for your own fucking identity? I'd also say if you got out, be glad you escaped the matrix, because they're still in there in a made up reality that'll leave their ass alone, sad and miserable, you know, just like they already are with their life.
What lies beneath your feet? Sacred grounds, watered with tears of blood. Shall we begin? Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
Who and hail the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Greatly appreciate you. Everybody on Twitter, everybody on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. Please smash that like button, share out the link, or whatever it is we do on your respectable platform. I greatly appreciate all, each and every single one of you. This journey for me has been a pretty crazy one. You know, you go through I went through defending my name, building this channel, into spreading narcissist abuse awareness, to taking a break, to coming back because I got hoovered again. But I ain't doing that again, I promise. No contact, and I ain't having it, I promise. It's over. But I thank you to every single person who stuck with me through every phase of this. And real quick, before I introduce everybody, I just want to say hello to the Dragonstorm secretary, Deborah Cohen. What's going on, sweetheart? Know your worth. Thank you very much for being here. And our boy, Snowdub Music and Entertainment. I'm doing a show with Snowdub on his channel. Snow, throw a link out for your channel, please. We're going to be doing a show every Wednesday night calling out toxic and narcissistic behavior in my old indie sphere. I'm looking forward to doing that, and I think it's very imperative to say where we came from. Guys, Snowdub's a wonderful person. He's one of those true friends that comes back to you when everything else falls apart. Thank you so very much. Without further ado, I want to introduce my co-host, He's here because Mortal Coil went to college, and Will Coil will be back. But until then, we have our boy, Scott Clarke. What's going on, man?
Hey, how do I get this camera on? There we go. Hey, great to see you, Steven. Nice to be here.
Good to see you too. Yeah, see, 1 weekend and we already got a guest host. So I think we're doing well.
Yes, sir.
And Coach Randy White, I've been following him for a long time. It was a pleasure to cover him last week. And then he reached out to us. And so we have him here tonight as a special guest panelist while we cover Shawn K Howerton, which was suggested by Scott. I didn't even know who Shawn was, but having seen some of her story, I'm looking forward to talking about her tonight.
There's so many different people, TikTok, Instagram. I'm sure I follow people that you don't know about. You follow people that I don't know about, and we just got to share it. So
yeah, it's crazy. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my fellow brothers and sisters, my survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse, I introduce to you someone who has helped me on my healing journey just by leading by example, Coach Randy White.
Hey,
how you doing, Coach?
Guys? What's up, Steven? What's up, Scott? Thanks for having me on. Very excited.
Right on. We're excited to have you.
When you guys had done that feature of me, man, I tell you, you guys made me feel so good. And it just happened to be on my birthday the day you guys dropped it. It couldn't have had a better birthday present. Thank you.
And to find out there's another Taurus out there doing this was a good thing, because Scotty and I are Tauruses, and so is my other co-host, Immortal Coil.
What you don't know is that my birthday was April 30th, and then Steven's birthday was May 2nd. It's like 2 days later, and then yours is what?
The 14th.
The 14th, like just 2 weeks after that. So we're like all in this little 2-week cluster.
That just means next year we got to get together and actually celebrate it the right way.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely. Yeah, I got a family full of bulls, man. Dad's the 3rd, mom's the 7th, my son's the 18th.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we butt heads, we do it right.
Yeah,
right, Randy.
Aries and Taurus, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Coach, if you don't mind, could you tell us a little bit about how you started your channel and your experience doing it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So, my whole life, basically, I've known that I was going to be called to help people, specific to like emotional, mental, and psychological abuse. I didn't really understand what narcissistic was. In fact, funny thing is, back in 2008 was the first time I'd ever heard of narcissism or narcissistic. When I looked it up, I was like, nah, that's everybody. What are you even talking about? And so I went on with my life. In 2019, I got out of a toxic relationship when the first time I'd ever kind of seen the patterns of idolization, love bomb, devalue, discard, hoover. I couldn't yet put it all together. And again, I was introduced, she's narcissistic. And I was like, I looked at her and I says, well, yeah, but she wasn't a liar. But this person basically wanted to go off and do some OnlyFans stuff and all this, these things on the internet. And I started thinking, I was like, you know what? I want to put a better message out in the world. I want to help people recover from emotional, mental, and psychological abuse and find their most authentic, most fulfilled self and really transform their lives. And I want to put a brand behind it and really put a better message out in the world. And I seen all these, influencers that were my age kind of coaching, and they all had these brands. I was like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. So about a year after this big vision came to me, I met the Narcissist, right? And then went through this relationship for 2.5 years. And when I got out of it, I finally was just, my eyes were open. It was just like all of the lights came on, all of the dots connected. And it was like within a few days, I was just like, oh my gosh, I see it now. And I, like you guys know, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I took about 3 weeks to really process what was going on. I was going through just shock and awe, right? Like I couldn't believe what I had seen at the end and all this information and how I felt. And then I finally just said, you know what, in order for me to move through this, I need to go back to what I was doing and who I was before this person and what I wanted to do. So I just started, I started looking at everybody that was doing, content on the subject. And I was like, let's speak. So I started speaking my story, and about 3 weeks in, I started going viral, and the rest is history.
Yeah, you've a huge following, man. 177,000 followers on TikTok. I mean, how long did it take you to grow that?
Yeah, so I'm about a year out. I want to say about 11 months in total. I started, I had 4,000 followers. When I first started making the content, back in 2019, right around the beginning of 2020, kind of getting a message out there. I was just doing, you know, video content with like a caption over. I was kind of shy. I didn't want to speak to the camera. The narcissists in my life, after I met them and actually told them what my plan was, you know, they made fun of me. They said, oh, you don't show your teeth when you talk. So I was like, you know, all the, you know, insecure about it and all that. And and then finally, you know, at the end, I was just like, I have nothing left. There is nothing left. All my friends are toxic. I see how people really are. And I just said, I'm just going to go for it. There's nothing left. What do I care? I have nothing. So I just started speaking. It took about 11 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean,
but in all honesty, and what I tell people is, I already knew I was going to do it. I had already created this vision. I had seen it playing out over and over, me going viral, me building a community, you know, and then I just finally had this to have the courage to speak authentically of who I was. And that's when it really just started working.
Wonderful. I'd like to take a moment to recognize someone on the Rogue Entertainment team, Tina Bojan, Bad Take Tina. She's she's a survivor of narcissistic parents, narcissistic mother. And someone that had been my friend for years and followed me on my author Stephen Walton channel, talking about, you know, Star Wars and things like that. And it's amazing when you go through this experience and then you start coming out of it, you find people that went through it as well, or that can talk to you because you have some idea of what they went through. And Tina was one of those, never left my side, stayed with me through all the smear campaigns. So Tina, I can't tell you how much that meant to me, how much I love you. I really do. Thank you so much, Tina.
It's so important, the community of that. Thank you for sharing that. It's so important because we really do feel like we're alone at the end of the day. If you talk to somebody who's never experienced it, you're speaking a foreign language to them. So it's important to find that community of people who understand this language.
It's critical. That's actually absolutely critical. When I started to come, my eyes were opened, and I started to research this, and I went out and bought, you know, a handful of books in the bookstore. Still, I haven't even finished them all because it's like, you know, you go and you buy a bunch of books and then you just have them for. But one of them I opened up. It was called How to Kill a Narcissist, and one of the main list of things that you need to do to heal and to get out of this is get allies. Is number one, because I talked to so many people while I was going through this absolute trauma of just a horrific discard, and they looked at me like I had a third head coming out of my shoulder, or second head coming out of my shoulder. I mean, like, and I just was looking for empathy. Please, would you please understand this? They can't. Like, people who have gone through this are like war veterans that experienced something that regular civilians don't even have they can't connect this. And so it's critical that people make allies, make friends, and have people who've been through this kind of thing to have their back, and to just have a shoulder to cry on, or a, you know, someone to put their arm around them.
Because you tell somebody who's never been through it, it's like, oh, they lie about everything. They're like, what do you mean, everybody? And it's like, no, they really lie. It messes up your brain, right? Like, it melts your brain. People don't understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you hear about habitual liars, or people that everyone knows somebody that's lied or is a liar, but the level in which a narcissistic personality takes their deception to fabricate, to weave an entirely alternative world around them that they support because they need to, where you are not taken into consideration. Your life experience, who you are, you as a person is not taken into consideration when it comes to the narcissist manipulations. It's a disorder that's so very destructive. And I guess I didn't realize what narcissists were until I went through it. And then as soon as I became educated, like Scott, like I was thirsty for information. And then I discovered, you know, you look in retrospect, those new eyes work in retrospect. You look in 2020 and you can see different situations in your life, different people. And then as you learn about yourself and heal and go to therapy and do what you have to do, you discover more about yourself and why you were susceptible to those people. It's one of the things that both of you have that Randy had said behind the stage, which is he agreed that this is a spiritual warfare, you know, this with fights with narcissists. So Randy, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, basically, if you look at life, right, like, so I always kind of tell people in coaching calls, like, people if you believe in God, then you have to believe in the devil, right? And what did the devil do? He came to lie, cheat, steal, and destroy. And that's exactly what narcissists do. So You know, I kind of look at it like, you know, we are in a spiritual warfare. I do believe in God, and I do believe that you know, if you look at our spirit, I've always kind of told people I don't believe that we have Casper the ghost in us, and that's our spirit, right? Our spirit really is it's our consciousness, our mental state, and our emotional state, the Trinity, in the way that it connects to a higher self, to source, right? And so what is the enemy going to do? He's going to come in and try to confuse that, right? He's the master of deception, and that's what narcissists are. So, and I liked what you said, because it's like, and it explained it so well, because you were like, you know, narcissists don't have a playbook. There's no university out there that's like narc you, right? It's all, oh, that was Scott. Yeah, it's just, this is a way of thinking. It's a way of being, just like, you know, people that are Christian, we're more, you know, going to be optimistic, or anybody who believes in a higher power is going to be more conscious and more susceptible to growth, where the enemy and that negative, pessimistic, you know, domineering, controlling is going to be more of that dark side. So to me, yeah, it makes sense. It's absolutely a way of being for them. Not necessarily, it's not, you know, they didn't all go to a school. There is no playbook. It's just truly who they are, and the ways that they embody the darkness of that side of life.
Yeah, I was going through TikTok, and I came across a Catholic priest. I go to the Catholic channel. I'm not sure what it was, but he was talking about exorcisms, and one of the things he was saying was, when you live in bad karma, I forget how he put it. I don't think he used the word karma, but when you do bad things and you live in lies and deception, you open doors to demonic forces, to dark forces. You know, you leave yourself susceptible to being manipulated by demons and so forth. Like, Scotty, you've talked about that before. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think what I said earlier on another stream is that some kind of abuse that happens as a child, and neglect, and where a child does not feel safe, and they have to literally create a shell around themselves in some way. I don't understand how it all works, but I do believe in possession. I mean, I could see that in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Jesus had to cast demons out of people, so that's a thing. I don't believe that that's stopped. I don't see that that's, I mean, we can see that it's in culture, it's in movies. I mean, there are people talking about it all the time. And what happens in movies, a lot of times we think this crazy stuff's fiction, and it actually could be the writers of these films, these books. They know things that we haven't experienced. I think that possession is an absolutely real thing. I think sometimes I just call it being hosted by an unclean spirit.
Because they're parasitic too, right? I mean, we always kind of compare it to the parasitic. So us being the host, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an energy vampire. You know, like Immortal Coil has said, from his perspective, narcissists live in a low vibration. Like, that's their universe. So they adulate you because they see someone who's vibrating high, something they cannot do, but then they need to break you down in order to consume your energy. And that's why they bring you down, trauma bond you, you know, gaslight you, make you feel like you're not worthy. You know, they want, that way they can consume your negativity, your anger, your depression.
Consume your traits too, your qualities, your attributes, the things that they wanted from you, and then they go display those to the next. That's how they build up their character, right? They continue to steal the attributes they want through energetic forces like that. And then they devalue you and break you down so that you can't carry it on. They're hoping that's the end of that trait and characteristic in you. It's a transfer. It's a complete fucking energy.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like putting out a candle. Like before we went through this, probably all three of us were light type people. I've always been known as a fun class clown, goofy, fun guy. I play music. I'm an artist. I give things to. I just give myself away a lot, and so I've been told that I'm a good friend, and that I just have a light about me. And but at the same time, I told Steven recently, probably on that last stream, is that I feel like a monster magnet. Is that these monsters see my light, and they want to snuff out my candle. But they take as much heat and whatever they can get from that before they put you out completely. And then that final snuff is just like horrific. It's like the final discard, and you're left with nothing but smoke. Yeah. And then you have to find someone to relight you. If that's in some kind of an analogy.
it's relighting yourself, at least in my experience, is, you know, you're alone, you're isolated. So, you know, what I did was I introspected and looked at myself and understood myself better. And that way I understood my reactions to what was going on, which actually helped me look at the people on the outside and seeing their reactions, you know. One of the hardest parts for me was understanding that while I was going through this, and while I was allowing myself to go through the cycles of abuse, because I got to take accountability. I acted differently. My personality changed. I became darker. I became angry.
Me
and
too.
that pushed people away. And so you've got to kind of understand that too. I mean, you can't hold those bricks. You got to forgive yourself and put them down, but be understanding that there were people who walked away from your life that could have been there to help you had you just been a little stronger, or not, you know, believed the lies and not believed in somebody that you shouldn't have. And in that way, I think that we kind of reignite our own fires, you know, understanding yourself and then vowing never to be like that again, never to be in that situation again. You know, always know your worth. Never let anyone, like, I will never let anyone in my life ever tell me or dictate my worth. I will never let anyone criticize me in such a way that I devalue myself, or I take away, like, I look at myself differently. I'll take criticism. I understand that now. I understand how to do that in a healthy way, but I will never be put in that position ever again. And so that's what I want.
Difference between criticism and minimization, right? Because I'm the same way. Like, once you really understand it, like, I just caught myself the other day, my mom, you know, like, you're so hyper vigilant to these things at this point that even my mom, I don't think she meant anything, but she kind of minimized something that was important to me, and I just snapped on her, and I was like, oh, sorry, Mom. Let me reel that in a little bit. But you become so hypersensitive that you just understand what the minimization is, and that's the slow poison. They talk about death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Yeah.
This is what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we continue on, I just want to recognize people in the chat that have come through. Phil TMNT, man, known me for years. Great person, guys. Wonderful cosplayers. Please check out his Instagram. Phil, put links out to your stuff. His YouTube channel. Wonderful, positive personality. Martial artist, does not kneel, works on himself, and is a bright, beautiful light in our community. So please take a look at him. And support our brother Phil out there. Beth is in the chat. Beth, every time you show up, I gotta be professional. I can't be why I want to be with you. I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me, Beth. Beth, I love you. All right, you are my toxic train wreck. You are my toxic boo. Don't ever doubt yourself. Don't ever doubt your worth. All right, I need you to breadcrumb me. Okay. All right, you talk down to me. I want you to take all that aggression out that Narc did to you and take it out on me. All right? I love it. I promise. You can step on me with 6-inch heels, the whole 9 yards. Just look, what that chest of dildos that you found that Narc X had hidden, look, I don't want nothing to do with those, okay? I don't want nothing to do with anything a Narc put up his ass. But other than that, I love you, Beth. And you know your worth, sweetheart. I know you're not feeling that well right now. And I hope that you feel better. And honey, you know, we all go through the ups and downs. Beth went through a malignant narcissist for, oh God, almost 20 years. And oof. He basically had her trapped, cut off from everyone, physically abused her, sent her to the hospital. The final Hoover, she escaped with a broken leg. You know, so she's really been through it. And but she has also been one of my lights in different chats. I met her in different chats. First woman I was able to have banter with, like, you know, flirting with. That's why we talk the way we do. And so she'll forever be my toxic boo, because we've both been through it. We're twin train wrecks. We understand. But it's good to see you, sweetheart. And I know you're not feeling well, and you be as sociable as you can, but understand when you come here, we love you. We love you at this channel, and love yourself, and be a friend to yourself, and know that you deserve more. Every time you feel doubt, every time you get a PTSD reaction, every time, you know, whatever, you make sure to love yourself, sweetheart. All right. And nothing to forget.
Sometimes the ones that get hurt the most are always the ones that have the most light to give back out to the and boosting them up. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sorry for laughing there. Sorry for laughing there. I thought you said an STD reaction. I thought you were like kidding around.
No. But listen, Beth,
completely wrong.
Beth, we need to have limits, though. Beth, no, whatever he said, don't listen to what he said. We're not doing STDs here. Okay, we're not doing that. The Dragonstorm harem does not spread STDs. All right, ladies. Okay, thank you. Let me go back to the chat. Love my chat, dude. The community that I've built here have been so supportive, like people like Janet Cross. I believe we are in a spiritual warfare, and I agree 100%. Absolutely, Janet. You know, it is the very idea of having your light taken, you know, someone trying to steal your light, consume your light, make you a darker person, to me is just living in bad. That's just a dark force. That's living in a dark force. You know, I remember when I first started the channel, I shared a picture of the overt narcissist I was triangulated with. And one of you guys subscribers said, there's a face next to his face. And in that picture was this long-nosed, skinny-faced image, like a ghost, like something in the picture itself. And it was like, well, that must be what's attached to him. You know, I've believed it ever since. Racer says they are absolutely 100% brain damaged individuals. Yes, they are, sir. But you say that here, and you don't say it to them because that gives them negative fuel. They want that attention. Nikki Red is in the house. Nikki Red, I didn't get a chance to play this for you last night, or I tried to. But Nikki, thank you very much. Love you. Everything that you do. Thank you for supporting me since the beginning.
Stop. Could you please step on the same foot at the same time? My tits are falling off!
Hail Nikki Red. Thank you, sweetheart, for being here. And one of my favorites, Angela. Angela, how you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. She keeps me on the up and up. She chest bumps me now and again. Steven, you're not healed. Steven, stop chasing red flags. So I just want to let you, like, my community looks after me. Angela's the one. She's the one, I think. She does the most. But Angela, oh, I'm sorry. Angela has, if I remember correctly, Ange, you can correct me, had narcissistic parents, and then she dealt with narcissistic relationship, and she is, you know, a very powerful woman, discovering herself. She's training to be a singer in Philadelphia Catholic choir. She is taking her strength back and sharing it with us in the chat. And she's always supporting others, giving good advice, or giving advice to others, and that's what I really enjoy about this community. Okay, and then illuminating manuscripts. It is 100% spiritual warfare. Peace and wisdom are the prize. Yes, they are, sir. Self-understanding, self-empowerment, knowing yourself, being good to each other, and suffering no fools. Let's see. Also, real quick, Phil says, I am going to school to be the next Dr. Phil, but actually be a legit therapist. Well, I hope so, buddy. I hope so. All right, because I mean, I think you're a little more. You're blacker than Dr. Phil, so I think you've got the black accreditation, Phil. Okay, it's good. You got this. All right, just don't blow up like Dr. Phil. Don't become big. You'll be better than. And don't get the Picard haircut. All right, keep your hair. All right, Phil. I love you. All right, so let us move on to looking at Shawn K Howerton. Scotty, you brought her to my attention. Tell me what how you started watching Shawn.
I just found there's a YouTube channel where she's making shorts, and she's also on Instagram right there. And you know, it's that scrolling thing where the algorithm just puts people in front of you, and there's a lot of people out there. And I ended up subscribing, or following, and then I noticed the things that she was saying, and she has a way of delivering a message that is so authentic to me. I mean, everybody's different, but the way that I just receive her words. I feel her pain. I feel her strength. And I just really enjoy her message, because a lot of it, even though she's a woman and I'm a man, so the roles are reversed, it's still the abuse is, I understand. I just think she delivers it. Just like Randy, he's, I see Randy from a different perspective, because we're talking about a man being abused from a woman's perspective. And so I can really relate with Randy's message, but she also has gone through some horrific, almost life-taking abuse. And I can appreciate the strength of turning around and helping people. And so I thought I would share that with you and say, have you seen this person? And
yeah, well, thank you for it, because I hadn't. And one of the first things that you brought up was that picture of her lying in a hospital bed, because she another time, not even the first, that she almost lost her life due to the abuse that she was going through. And I mean, that just hits my heartstrings. Randy,
Yeah.
are you familiar with Shawn K Howerton?
I'm not, but I did last night, based on, knowing that this was coming up. I went over her Instagram, and yeah, I would say that she articulates. I didn't get enough information or look at enough to really understand her story, but you can tell she's been through it. The way she articulates the message is spot on. There's a lot of passion behind her voice. You can actually hear the pain. So yeah, I just started getting familiar with her last night.
Oh, I mean, and that's how it works around here. Like it's amazing. There's so many of us out here speaking, and I never knew about any of them. It's the same thing with narcissistic abuse. You don't understand what narcissism is till you go through it, and then you heal, and then you just see it. I've been lucky enough to speak to a couple people. Randy's probably one of the first to interact with me. There's Narcissistic Survivor Chronicle, which is another channel on YouTube, who started reaching out to me at first. We're going to cover him in the future. He's very Zen-like. He came through narc abuse and now he's good. So I can't wait to cover him. But hearing the stories that I have from different people who've contacted me over TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and sometimes Twitter. I'm not a certified life coach. I am nowhere near ready to give advice like on a professional level. I'm still learning a lot. So I'm very picky about who I choose to talk to, but I read these messages that are sent to me about the domestic violence that people have gone through, men and women, where, they're being hit, they're literally being trapped in a house, they're being tied. Some have been chained, broken limbs, and the horror stories that you hear really puts, a poignant aspect on the need for awareness, because this is the narcissistic abuse is a hidden abuse. It happens behind closed doors. It's the person who's doing it. It has a fake face, has a fake front that they put out, and they've done it so many times that they have this established front to people. So you may not see it, you may not know, Betty Homemaker next door. She could be going through some of the worst hell of her life, but having to smile on the outside because the narcissist demands she look good, or protect his image. Again, just another reason why I think awareness is so important.
Steven,
Real quick,
I might say scroll up a little bit on her page to show the audience the picture of her in the hospital bed so that they have that image of who you're about to listen to.
Sure. And while I do that, I have a quick question from Angela. She says, I have a question for everyone. Did anyone see the miniseries Mildred Pierce with Kate Winslet? No, I'm sorry. Angela. We don't watch Lifetime. We have penises, but thank you for asking. I can't make sexist jokes no more. Oh my God. Okay. I don't see it actually. No, Angela, I'm sorry, I haven't seen it.
It's further down. It should be one of those white. There it is on the right.
Guess this is betrayal.
Oh.
Leave me out for dead. Stab me.
This was my second suicide attempt. I attempted again after being home only 3 days from the first attempt. When I got home, my ex-narc was upset that the house was not up on the market. He was concerned that the interest rates were going up. He threatened to have me committed and put in an insane asylum. He even brought a lawsuit against me to hold me in contempt of court. He didn't care that he had brought me to the brink of death, the mother of his 4 children and the wife of 23 years. He only cared about himself, knowing what you are dealing with, you are dealing with pure evil. Don't walk, run. Jeez, man.
Yeah.
That's what they want. I mean, the ultimate goal for a narcissist is to have you off yourself. So, I mean, this is horrible. And to your point, why awareness is so important. Now that we have the ball rolling with the awareness, it's so important to keep the train going.
Agreed.
And before we begin, Angela, I know you laughed at me because nobody else laughed. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love you, sweetheart. Sorry, no, but if you send me an email and let me know what it's about or however you want to contact. All right. So let's go over a couple videos and take a look and see what we think about Shawn K Howerton. Oh, well, let's make sure to unmute Steve Walton. There we go.
So I'm asked all the time, how does the narcissist move on so quickly? Well, because they were never attached to begin with. Look, they don't attach themselves to the years that you shared together or the memories that you have of vacations and the smell of foods and your children or Christmases or gifts shared or moments. They just don't. They don't. It's a switch that flips and they're done. They only think about themselves. They don't think about you. They think about how they feel and what's in it for them and what's next and whether or not they get supply and whatever. They're never, ever going to connect to anyone. So when you guys are asking me, what does that new supply have that I don't have? Are they going to give the new supply what they didn't give me? It might appear that way. Guys, listen. Those people are who they are. They're takers. You're givers. You're lovers. You're kind. You're empathetic. You're compassionate. You're self-reflecting. These people are not. You can't expect them to want to heal and to become better and reflect back on what happened in the relationship. They're not wired like that. So if you're sitting there beating yourself up about why I can't move on or what happened, stop. You'll never be able to make sense of it.
Oh, thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, she's spot on. At the end of the day, narcissists, they don't connect emotionally, right? They're transactional. It's all about what can they get from you? How can you make them feel? So there is no emotional attachment. She's absolutely spot on. And this is why they're able to move away so quickly, right? Once it's over and you're in the devaluation phase, you're never getting that, love bomber back. That part is over. At this point, they're just looking for outright control. They're looking to minimize and destroy that other person's character, their authentic self. They're trying to just dismantle them. They just do not connect emotional. It's all about the transaction.
Mm-hmm. Scotty, what did you think?
Yeah, no, Randy's right on, and so is Shawn. And that's what's so hard for a person that, like my personality type. I want to connect right here. I want to connect here, but I also want to connect right here. And that's with everybody, with whether it be a female in my life, but also my guy friends. I want to connect here. I don't like superficial stuff. I don't need 10, 20, 30, 50 friends. I need 1, 2, 3 like this. That's what I need. I'm not interested in a ton of people that is superficial. I'm interested in a small handful of incredibly valuable friends that I know have my back and I have their back, and I could bounce my deepest things off of them, and I know that I'm going to get valuable just insights back. And when you're in you get into a deep relationship with somebody that they pretend to be that in the beginning, and then you realize that it was never it just melts away, and you realize that there's nothing actually sticks. It's slippery, it's slimy, you're not connected. And anything you try to do is just met with indifference or confusion or playing dumb. And you realize, whoa, I'm really into this. And it's not at all what I thought. And you just find yourself in a very, very difficult place. And you got to make some very hard choices at that point. And it's all deception.
It's all deception. And they're takers. They're takers. Narcissists are just takers. They take. They do not reciprocate. They always kind of say it's like when dating a narcissist, you imagine just trying to fill this bucket. You're trying to fill the bucket for the narcissist. There's a hole in it. Everybody's trying to fill up this bucket for the narcissist and their emotional needs, but it's just never enough, right? It's never enough for the narcissist. They just take.
Everyone empties out, pouring into the narcissist that has holes in the bottom, and so everything just goes wherever it goes, but it doesn't fill up the one that you're thinking you're filling it up, because you're hoping that narcissist will then pour it back into you, and then it's self-sustaining relationships. But really, you're giving everything to the narcissist, and it's falling out of the bottom of the narcissist, it goes nowhere, and everybody loses.
I mean, as far as like the energy that they take from you, it is all about projection. It's all about, keeping that narcissistic shell intact, their delusional funhouse mirror worldview. And so all the energy you're pouring into them, in my opinion, goes to that. It goes to the energy that they expend having to lie, having to triangulate, having to groom the next supply, having, you know, just making sure they're an addict, always making sure that they have supply, they always have their drug. And I think one of the reasons, I mean, I'd like to add to this video, one of the things how a narcissist moves on so quickly is because they've done this so many times. They've got you traumatized. They're grooming the next one. They're ghosting you to further the trauma bond, to groom the next one. So it's like they look forward to coming back. You know, they look forward to continuing that cycle of abuse. Like detaching from you emotionally is easy because they lack empathy and they lack that connection, or they have very low empathy. But they're always
cognitive empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah, they don't feel the empathy, but they understand from a cognitive, you know, intellectual level what the expressions behind the feeling would be, but they don't actually feel it.
Mm-hmm. Angela expands further. She says it's a show that's in depth about psychopathy. Okay, that sounds good. Angela, I know you're not a Lifetime chick. I'm just playing with you. I'm just, you know, I love you. And Adventures with Beth says, I had the narc actually go after me in public, so it's not always that way. And everyone here, I guarantee you, every person here has been gone after in public by a narcissist. That is a part of what they do. And I'll give you the same advice that I would give anybody else. Shine. Don't let them affect you. If a narcissist tries to trigger you on social, shine. Ignore them and be the best version of yourself. You know, be happy, be thankful. Project success and confidence in yourself, and do it for you, not as a response to the narc. It's got to all be about you, because any energy that you expend hoping a narc's going to look at or see or something is feeding them negative fuel, and it's continuing that energetic bond between you. I love you, Beth. Oh, you always shine here, Beth. Always. All right. All right. So it's a great video, and I love her motherly energy. She has a really calm, motherly type energy, which I really enjoy.
Also, to articulate so well.
Yes, and I do appreciate that.
I was raging. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I resonate with that though. I resonate with that though too. I mean, I understand these are two completely different personalities, yours and hers, but I love you both. So.
Oh, brother, you should see my early stuff. I was, I've channeled it into like, you know, just a strong front. Because some of the best comments that I've ever gotten from people is, you have like big brother energy, or you have dad energy, or I needed to hear this today. I needed to be told this today.
You do have dad energy. You definitely have dad energy.
Yeah. So I use that as opposed to where I was going through reactive abuse. Oh my God. I was bad. I was angry.
When I first started healing and telling my story, I was really slow and lethargic when you first get out. So it was only 3 weeks from the 9th and final discard to when I started speaking. And I was so lethargic. In fact, my first 20 videos, I didn't even say narcissistic abuse correctly. I kept saying narcissist abuse. Not correctly. But I was just like, I just went for it anyways.
You did, and it works, man. And that's the same thing I'll tell you guys out in the chat. That I used to mirror back in my old indie sphere, which is if you have an opinion, if you have a voice, you want it heard, make a channel, start making videos, use your phone. I started off on my phone. You see, I built 10,000 subs on a phone, basically, guys. Like, it doesn't matter. It's the message that counts.
Yeah.
And it helps. For me, it's helped. You know, if you want to tell your story, do not let anyone else affect you. You're going to find flying monkeys. You're going to attract other narcissists and toxic people because they hate this type of content. And just understand that, know that going in, and protect yourself accordingly. Real quick, keep looking up us in the chat. What is up, my fellow survivor and thriver from narcissistic abuse? Good to see you. Thank you for being here, sir.
Can I ask Randy a question real quick before we keep going on? Randy, do you deal with toxic people that you know, like people who maybe stalk you and that kind of stuff? Have you had to deal with that since you've been on this journey? Like in your Yeah.
So I do a couple of things. So I got, the one-on-one coaching. I've also built out a coaching community where I do weekly coaching calls. And it's been really humbling because when we're doing this, right, when we're bringing awareness and we're growing these platforms, we don't really know who's on the other side. So I've had people, narcissists are professional victims. Okay. And I have come across a lot of times where there's a narcissist who's in narcissistic rage. They're claiming to be the victim. I've let them into the community. We're coaching them. And all of a sudden, after a little bit, you start to see their patterns start to come out. You know, not even, I think it was about a month ago, I finally had my eyes open to this, that this was a thing, right? That we have narcissists out here on social media claiming to be the victim. They're smearing the real victim because that's what they are. They're professional victims, narcissists. So it's been eye-opening. You got to watch out for it everywhere. You know, I've had to take different measures in how I vet the people that I allow into the coaching community for that purpose, right? So absolutely, Scott, I've definitely encountered it.
Thanks for that information.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's another tip, if you didn't know, is when you are dating or talking to women in the community, because I started dating again, narcissists hide as abuse victims in order to find new supply. And I got like two of them, two women, like at different times. Started talking to them. We started, you know, bonding a little bit, and then immediately saw the red flags, immediately saw the narcissistic tendencies. Went right when I started confronting that, avoided accountability, began a smear, cut them out of my life. You're done.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, Jessica is in the chat. Another one of our survivors and thrivers sisters out there. She goes in the same reason I'm sorry. Wait, went up a little bit too far. She says, this is why avoiding narcissistic women is of a paramount importance for men. Absolutely. And she says, this is the same reason why I avoid the bad boys. That's because you're smart. That's because you're smart, Jessica. Now go get that PhD. Jessica is in college. She's a scientist, you know, so we're looking forward to seeing her graduate and becoming the best version of herself as she heals, goes to school, learns, gets that PhD. We are proud of you, Jessica. Thank you for being here. All right, let's take a look at another one of Shawn's videos. Oh, wait, let me actually share it. I did that again. See, Randy, last week Scott was saying maybe when we're talking, we should blow ourselves up, like we should become full picture and take the screen share away. And I remembered that, but I forgot to bring it back up. Thank you, Scott. I listened to you. I listened to your critiques.
It works well.
It works well.
It does.
So let's talk about the biggest you can give to a narcissist. Yeah. You want to know what that is? No response. Nothing. Do not respond. I don't care what they text you. Unless it's an absolute emergency, don't respond to these people in any way whatsoever. Let it slide. I know it's hard. And I realize that living in a house with them, it's really hard not to respond. I get it. But I'm going to tell you what I wish somebody had told me. Don't respond. I know you want to. I regret every time I ever responded. And, you know, when I got to the point where I just quit responding, I just didn't. He went away. I mean, not right away. And he still tries to get to me any which way he can, even if it's through a sociopath. He tries to do it. Trust me when I tell you, it is not easy trying to navigate away from this monster. But you know what? Do it. Ignore, ignore, ignore. Ignore their flying monkeys. Ignore whatever texts they send you. Ignore whatever messages they send through your children or family or friends or whatever the case may be. Ignore it. I don't care what it is. Unless it's an absolute emergency, ignore it.
I love the way she said that, and I would have been so much more ignorant about it. F that narc. The importance of no contact. You know, Scotty, I mean, you have had Hoovers, people reach out, try and harass you. What is it like having to remain silent when your character is being attacked, when lies are being said about you, when you're trying to be hoovered back in?
It's not easy in the beginning when you don't understand the dynamics of this whole thing, but it gets easier with time. And on top of that, I'm not the easiest target for a narcissist in that regard, because I can ghost somebody at the drop of a hat, and I've always been able to do that. Not to be mean, but I've just been able to be done when I see toxic behavior. Now it's difficult And that's what's sort of a normal relation. I've had like guy friends that have been all of a sudden they just kind of start turning on you, and you're just kind of like, okay, if you're gonna be like that, you're dead to me. And then I'm done. And I didn't even know anything about narcissism. I'm just done if you're gonna act like that. So I have a history of being able to drop somebody like a box of rocks, if that's a thing. And then, but when there's like chemicals that you become dependent on, that it is much more difficult, especially if it's been like a love relationship, or you thought it was a love relationship. It's difficult when there's chemicals involved in that your body's depending on, dopamine and
Cortisol.
what is it? What is it?
Oxytocin and dopamine is the high, the oxytocin and dopamine, and then the cortisol is the low.
Right. When you become dependent on this kind of stuff, it's a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, I think I have had, for me, a very strong mind of, I don't need this crap. I'm better than that. I deserve better. And I have been good enough. My empathy, my love, I've been able to say, I'll give you another chance. I'll give you another chance. I'll give you another chance. And eventually you just kind of go, okay, it's you that needs to change. And I guess we're done. Bye. Block. And I guess that's it. I guess that's it.
Coach, when you're talking to your clients, like how do you motivate them for no contact?
No, I just basically, you got to kind of motivate them through the reality of the addiction of those chemicals, right? Because we become so addicted to the oxytocin and the dopamine from the love bombing and the idolization phase, really being seen, heard, and validated by these people in the way that they do it through mirroring you and projecting all of the best attributes onto you. It really just lifts you up on such a high. And then when they drop you at such a low, it's an addiction. It's the same addiction as alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, whatever the case. And it's all about starving that addiction. So it's just, what do you really want to do? You can't really motivate anybody unless they have a deeper, desire to get out of the relationship, to go no contact. You make a very good point, Scott. That addiction and those chemicals, that's everything, right? It's the trauma bond. You're dealing with two aspects of the trauma bond. You're dealing with the chemical addiction, but you're also dealing with the cognitive dissonance. So you're just, not only are you, so it's really, to me, the number one step is breaking the cognitive dissonance. How do we motivate them? We let them know you've got to find the truth. Narcissists are all about deception. Truth will set you free. So you have to find your truth and what happened to you, and then starve the addiction. So it's kind of about just, let's get to the truth. You want the truth, don't you? What is your truth? Write it out. The ick list, we call it.
The ick list. Okay.
Is that an acronym?
Yeah, for the icky stuff that they do to you. So just, it's essentially, the good and the bad, but there's never any good. So you're just writing the ick list, all of the icky shit. Here's the thing, like, it does not happen overnight that you fall in love with these people. You get emotionally connected to them. You become vulnerable and you get enmeshed into their lives. And it's not going to be overnight that we get out of it. You have to recondition the entire and rebuild the entire subconscious mind into the truth of what the reality is, that you were abused from day one, that even the good times were nothing more than manipulation to set up the bad times.
One of the things that I discovered was that I have a narcissistic parent, and not a narcissist, thank God, but he kind of trained me for love bombed evaluation and codependency. And so what I was really proud of myself. I'm riding in the car with him one day. Told this story before, but I'm riding in the car with him, and I saw the evaluation begin. The searching for triggers, old triggers, things that used to affect me when I was growing up. And he kept at it subtly. It was very subtle. I'm trying to trigger my son, and to the point where I just put headphones in and started listening to music, and one of the triggers he was using was a recording, and he turned it up, and I just didn't listen to it. And by the end of the experience, I was able to hug him, say I love you, and walk away. Yeah. And thank God my son was with me. And I said to my son, I'm glad that you have a different experience with Grandpa, because what you just saw is what he's done to me my whole life. And I used to get depressed, get angry, get agitated, start conflict, start yelling. And now I understand that was by design, when he was in those moods. And it's just one of the things that you understand is that, guys, when you break no contact, you restart the wheel. You know, there is a certain injury that we have. It's kind of like being stabbed on Weathertop. When Frodo got stabbed on Weathertop by the Wraiths, he always had that scar. That pain's kind of always there. Now we get through it. We learn how to manage it, like we do our traumas, our the things that we figured out about ourselves through childhood that we had to fix and confront, and things about yourself, toxic behaviors. But there's always this little mark. The narcissist knows that, and they know how to pressure you, and they know how they've hurt you in the past. So when you let that Hoover happen, when you break no contact, they know they're pressing a button, no matter what they say, what's happened, and what's going on, and how it affects you as the victim of their targeted harassment and abuse. So, until you are ironclad, until you're like Angela out there standing like the abuse survivor Statue of Liberty, you have to stay no contact, because your body will start running the same routines, your mind, everything that it was. That's right, survivor, brother. And so hopefully never talk to him again, but it, like I said, isolation, keeping no contact while you are healing is very important, because if you do it if you have contact prematurely before you're done healing, you'll fall right back into the cycle. I did it so many times, and I regret it. It was years I did it, until I finally just had enough and said no more. So that's my 2 cents, guys. No contact is so very important. Save yourself, love yourself, be a friend to yourself. One of the reasons you have to forgive yourself as a friend is you have to come to the realization that you let yourself down. You were not a friend to yourself. When someone betrays you and you let them back into your life, you're disrespecting yourself. You're not giving yourself the love that you deserve. And you've got to understand that. Come to terms with it. Forgive yourself. Drop the bricks. Learn the lesson. Move on.
Amen. Well stated. And on that, the video, one of the things that she mentions too is, okay, so the no contact, because remember, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you respond to these guys. They like the negativity and the evilness of what they're doing. It's just a lot of times for most of them, it's more powerful supply than the love bombing, right? That superiority, the control the knowing that they can push on that scar is providing more supply than the love bombing and idolization they get off on this.
I understand, Angela. It's not easy. Angela says, Lodonis, it's not that easy to let go either. No, it's not. And for every reason that Scott and Coach have said here tonight, it's especially if you've got, were raised around it. It's your family culture. It's ingrained in you. It takes a lot of shadow work, a lot of inner work. Like I said, guys, my men out there, listen, do not be ashamed if you've got to go to therapy, if you have to talk to a coach, if you have to talk to somebody to better yourself. That is bettering yourself. That's being a strong man. My ladies out there, same thing. I know it's easier for you guys to relate or to express emotionally, but do not think that seeking help is a bad thing. And, to what Angela said, she also says, especially if the narcissist is controlling the finances. I mean, that's when you have to make an escape plan. I was the one giving the money to the narc in that situation. But have either of you had any experience like that with narcissists controlling finances?
I was financially used myself, so not on them controlling the finances in it, but I was used for my money. I was essentially used for what I had.
All right, so let's move on to the next video. Angela, thank you. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Please hit that like button, share out the link. Please subscribe to Coach Randy White. Got his link tree and his YouTube channel in the description. And also please follow Shawn K Howerton, our feature tonight, and support your fellow brothers and sisters of narcissistic abuse out there. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
While you're finding that,
I did it again.
It's okay. I can cover for you. I have this meme. I save memes on my phone that I see all over the place. I just have my phone has no pictures. It's just full of memes.
Okay.
And I have this one right here, and it says, it's a little blurry, but I'll read it. Evil can pretend to be good and kind, but good and kind people cannot pretend to be evil. So when you see evil behavior in someone, believe it. That's who they really are.
Yeah.
Like none of us here tonight, the three of us, will just pretend to be evil. But evil will pretend to be good because of the deception. There's something that can get out of it.
Well, that's an important point, because a lot of times 99% of the time, you know, a survivor of narcissistic abuse, they feel like they're the narcissist, right? Because the abuse, the prolonged abuse will end up becoming a little bit more toxic as a defense mechanism against the narcissistic abuse, which causes a lot of victims to feel like they're the toxic, they're the abuser, right? But it comes down to intention, right? Narcissists are intentionally doing these evil things. When we end up being toxic as a way to defend against it, it's intentional for defense, not abuse. And so you're spot on. Evil people are evil. Once you see evil that way, that is, you have to take it at face value. That's who they are. They're showing you their true self.
Actions, not words. It's one thing that we learned through this is that you don't take somebody what they say, you watch their actions and how they move. Mr. Tickle Trunk, who, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, before our eyes were opened, we thought people were like us. And that's how we got the rug pulled out from underneath us.
You know what's interesting about that too is that you know, not only do we think everyone's like us, but narcissists think everyone's like them. That's what's scary. And I didn't know that until I had started talking to a few, you know, self-proclaimed narcissists or whatever. I got my opinion on these guys, but I'll save that for another day. But yeah, basically they were trying to explain to me how, well, we think everybody's like us. Everybody's out to screw everybody over. Everybody's out manipulating. Everybody's out for themselves. And it just dawned on me. I was like, damn. And that just kind of further solidifies the spiritual warfare aspect of it. You got this side thinking that everybody's this way. This side's thinking everybody's the way we are. And it's just like,
it's a complete black and white split with literally nothing in common. And the only way that the people on the light side think that they have something in common with the dark side is this meme. The dark side pretends to be good for a little while until our eyes are opened and then we're traumatized.
Yeah. It's spiritual warfare, you know, for your soul. I talk a lot about narcissists want to spread their pain, right? They're hurt inside. They don't want to face that pain. That's why they create the shell and project outward. And they want other people to become like them. And I don't know if anybody in the chat has had this experience, but that kind of what you read reminds me that for a time I was so angry and twisted and so much had happened to me that I wanted to be evil. I was like, evil people seem to succeed. Bad people, toxic people seem to win. I don't understand it. And I became very angry and very reactive. But if you're like that, if you're a person who just has a good heart, and I'd like to think that I do, you eventually come full circle and you're like, this isn't me. This isn't how I should be. This isn't how I have, but this is wrong. It's a confusing engagement with yourself to figure out, and then find yourself again. And like I said, if you've taken the road that I did, having to forgive yourself, having to recognize that, like I will always take accountability for anything I said or did during this whole venture. And some of it was mean because I was being treated a certain way and I reacted.
On lives, as far as I was toxic too. I did a lot of things, you know, what I said and I did was all accurate. What I called them, you know, it was accurate, but the way I did it was very, you know, horrible. So good remarks, Stephen.
I became toxic as well. I mean, it's what they do is they empty you of your true authentic self and they fill you up with themselves, which is all just dirt and garbage and toxicity. I started behaving just completely out of character. And then what happened is that they pull out their phone and they record it.
Yeah, that's when they got you. That's Darbo. That's Darbo at his finest. Now they got you. Now they got the proof to show the flying monkeys. And here we go.
Real quick, a couple things before we start the next video. Papa Cotton, do me a favor. We've got flying monkeys and narcs coming through the chat. You have the authority. Hit the ban hammer if you see any of them, please. Thank you very much. He also says, I didn't realize that all relationships are like this. I thought all the destruction was just how relationships end. Papa Cotton is discovering that he attracts borderlines and narcissistic women throughout his life. So he's kind of going through a realization at the moment. A good friend of mine always tells the truth, how he sees it. And just Papa, you know, he's got damage like the rest of us. He mitigates that. He does the best that he can to be a good person. I love seeing that. And thank you, Papa. So ban hammer if you see any trolls coming through. We got him tonight. Mr. Tickle Trunk, who has not been through narcissistic abuse, but has been learning about it. He's been my friend, been a supporter. He's helped me so many times. And, you know, he's one of my real life friends. Thank you so much for being here. He says, therapy doesn't mean you failed. It's like going to the doctor's or hospital to get corrective surgery. Therapy doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough and smart enough to keep going. Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. And one real quick, Angela says, I got out with help from Women Against Abuse. Good, I'm glad. She says, I had my ass beat and I fought back. No one should ever put their hands on you, Ange. Never. That's not, as you know, abuse is not love. Any of my brothers and sisters out there, if you're going through physical abuse, doesn't matter if they're a narcissist, doesn't matter what their condition is, that is not love. That is an unhealthy relationship, unhealthy circumstance. Get yourself out. And I'm glad Angela found a community that could help her. Yeah, congratulations, Ange. You're my hero, girl. All right, let's continue on. What's things? Here we go.
So a narcissist can't be alone. You wonder why you get replaced so quickly? Now, let me just put this into perspective for you, right? While the rest of us first need to recover and heal from the relationship, because we're normal, we were vested in it, they don't, because they weren't vested. Then when you get ready to start dating again, you date, and you date, and then you date some more. Few of us are lucky enough to meet somebody right off the bat. You have standards and you have compatibility that you want to match, and whatever the case may be. So you're picky. I mean, this is a partner, especially after you've been through what you've been through. You want to make sure that you are picking the creme de la creme for you. They don't do that. They just go pluck, pluck. They just want a warm body, okay? They want somebody that fits enough that they're okay with it. They don't date a lot, typically. They just replace you. Well, think about that a minute. Why? They're not vested in that person either. Come on now. Do you think that they were searching the world over for their twin flame? No, they're not. They're just getting a warm body that they can control and manipulate.
And ain't that the truth? And I made this video, Randy. Every now and again, I try and do comedic or funny like videos. And one of the series that I do is Right Now, Your Narcissistic Toxic Ex. And the last one talked about, they are not picky. So they will sleep with a bum who pissed on themselves if it leads to money, drugs, or supply. They're not. And I think at first, depending on the narcissist's objectives, if they're looking for financial stability or they're looking for looking for a primary that's going to financially support them, they do look for a certain vein. And men do that too. Jackie Carson, who was on last night, interviewed her. Guys, please check out that interview. Wonderful singer, songwriter, R&B. She was targeted for abuse by the owner of a record label who pulled her in and does so with other female artists and then abuses them, triangulates them, sexually abuses them. So it's, please check that out. But, she had survived something that horrible. If you, I'm sorry, I lost my point. Narcissists can't be alone. They will get to a point, they need supply, all right? And they trust and believe. They have primary, secondary, tertiary, and they have a stable. They got stable exes that they have run through, that they have destroyed, they ain't talked to in years, that they could go to at an emergency, in a moment's notice. And they also have people that they've never abused, just in case they need to get through with some positive fuel, for a few days before they pick up some other triangulation. Narcissists have an abandonment issue. They're kind of like avoidance, where an avoidant will sabotage a relationship before, as soon as they get an inkling that it's going to end. To them, every relationship ends. So they'll sabotage a relationship. And narcissists are much the same way, but they've always got the next one on the hook. They're always thinking ahead. So it's a little bit different between an avoidant and a narcissist. It is. The reason the narcissist can't be alone is because they are sat alone by themselves and didn't have anybody to lie to target, to manipulate, to get adulation from, to smear. They would have to look at themselves. They would have to feed off their own energy, which is what they are trying to avoid. That is the very last thing a narc wants to do, unless they get help, which there are some that do. They do not want to look inward. That will cause narcissistic collapse. Any thoughts on this, gentlemen?
Yeah, no, I mean, I personally, I would absolutely agree. So narcissists, they monkey branch, right? They need constant validation, admiration, the superiority, control. They're never looking for, you know, the next love of their life. They're just looking for people who are unaware of their bullshit, essentially. You know, when they do, you know, go back and look for previous supplies, it's typically a big dragnet they throw out there and see which, you know, old victim or supply might be willing to play ball again. But that's about it. You know, narcissists, they just need constant validation, attention, admiration, because like you said, they don't want to deal with their own guilt and shame. If they sit in it for too long, it causes a complete narcissistic collapse, and that's what they're trying to avoid. So this is why you'll never, you know, 95% of the time a narcissist will monkey branch. They're already, the minute you're in the devaluation phase, the minute you go into the devaluation phase, they're already conditioning or looking for the new supply. It's just what they do.
What if a narcissist,
How about you, Scott?
what if one narcissist loses somebody and then they head over to another narcissist? Do they know that they each have a bunch of different people and that there's nothing really
Scott, I can answer that, sir. I was targeted by a narcissistic sociopath with various, I believe to be, I'm not a clinical psychologist, with various other things going on. And, you know, she, when I saw her again, we had been friends for over 20 some odd years, know each other, grew up in the same area, same, you know, connections with friends and stuff.
Real quick, switch back to the three.
Oh,
cameras.
the three. Thank you. And remind me to put it back up.
We want to see that face. We want to see your expressions.
You know, you're really, I'm not saying I swing that way. Scott, I'm not saying I swing that way, Scott, but you're making me feel good about myself. As long as
that's why I'm
she when I met up with her, she had broke up with another narcissist who was controlling, wouldn't leave his wife. And she went into a relationship, or not a relationship, she started dating again. I was one of those people, and another one was an overt narcissist. So the way that I observed, and from what I understand from a video from Professor Sam Vaknin, is when a covert and overt see each other, and I'm going to use the sociopath as a covert. When they see each other, the covert understands the overt as a narcissist, because overts are just out there. They're just, you know, constantly pouring it out there. And coverts are about subtle manipulation and keeping themselves more, you know, secretive. When they see each other, the overt may not know that they see the covert as a covert narcissist or another narcissist, but they do see a constant source of supply, because both of them are going to triangulate, love bomb, devalue, eat. They're going to ghost. Both of them are like, they're doing this constantly to one another. And the relationship, from what I understand, forgive me, I can't remember the narc abuse coach that said this, is, I'm not Lisa Lou, girl power, my girl. I love Lisa Lou. God, break from me. Lisa Lou said that I love Lisa. She said that when two narcissists meet up, that relationship's going to last longer, that manipulationship, situationship, because they're constantly feeding each other. They know each other's triggers. They know the value of the supply. They can get a constant supply they can get out of that other person and other people. When this is the scary thing, though, Scotty, is that, because I was a victim of this as well. So when the two narcs get together and one cheats and comes back, they will fight, then they will love bomb, and then they will attack the person that the other one cheated with, because it's their fault. It's never the person that did it fault. It's the other person's fault. And then they will start harassing and gaslighting and going after the person that cheated. You know, I tell this story about Narc X, God, two years ago, coming to my house and being proud of the fact that her boyfriend, or whatever he is, cheated with her with somebody in this girl's house, came back, they fought, got back together, went to the girl's house together, had sex in the bed, and then videotaped it, and then sent it to the girl. That's what happens when two narcissists get together, two narcissistic personalities. They're always going to fight. It's going to be the same cycle they're going through, but they team up and they will come after you. And there's nothing more sinister than a group of pair or a group of narcissists coming after your reputation. And people, I endured that across YouTube. There was YouTubers with much larger followings and established whisper networks, is what they call it, the flying monkey networks. And they want to drive you to suicide. Absolutely. Two narcs get together and they target you, they want to drive you to suicide.
So they hate each other, but they feed off the energy.
Yeah.
Well, they hate and love each other. The passion is much more big. See, they both understand. It's like, all right, it's like two bullshitters seeing each other across a field. You know what I mean? And they see they see the blackness in each other's eyes, and they recognize that. And so they know that they're going to be able to get that constant fuel. They both have fake love. They both think, because they're unhealed people, that abuse is love. And so, there's so much they're getting in as far as positive fuel from the other, but then they're also looking forward to the valuation, the fighting. It's constant. And when they get to a point where they begin, this is what I noticed, and this is why I'm completely no contact now, is that when they begin to collapse, because the pair of them will go through collapse together at some point, because they've driven so many people away, that's when they go out and find the third party, and that's why they go do what they do. And that's why the narcissistic sociopath showed up at my house uninvited in the middle of the damn night with a narcissist in tow. Because that was the final discard. It was, I need you, because I was done. I was like, maybe we shouldn't talk. We should just back away and not talk for a few years. We're trying to be cool about it. But that grand discard needed to happen. No, you can't run away. You are the thing I use to abuse my narcissistic boyfriend. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go into a whole story there, but that's, it's just, it is a shame that these people, some of the problems that they have can be easily, I think, not easily, depending on the level of damage, but fixed. If they really tried to fix themselves, if they really tried to look at their issues, their problems, and why they are the way they are, and they put in the hard work of changing. Because a lot of victims have had similar issues in their childhood, and we go to therapy. We talk about it. We introspect and fix ourselves. That's just my thoughts on it.
There's a part of that. I mean, it's interesting that you say that. I mean, two things that I want to touch base on that kind of piggyback off would be, all of us suffer this same childhood trauma. We really just do. Empaths will typically go inward and say, well, what's wrong with me? And we'll work to start showing our value and our love so that we can get it reciprocated. So empaths are going inward, where narcissists are going outward, right? They're saying it's the world's fault. They did this to me and I'm never going to allow. So they go external, right? Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting. You talk about that story with the two narcissists and filming in the bed and then sending it. That's just exactly what they do. That is the most sinister, unbelievable things that a healthy person would never even think to do that. But this is where their mind is. This is how they want to, do the one up or to reestablish a control, a what would you call it? Like an advantage over somebody is to do something like that. Well, you guys cheated, so now we're going to go do this in your bed. I'm going to send it to you in order to hurt you so that I can elevate myself again and show you that I'm more superior. It's sick. Mm-hmm.
And if you're the victim of that, you can't even tell somebody that happened to even get understanding or empathy, because you sound nuts. And you have that dirt on you just for that happening. You had nothing to do with it, but it happened to you. And now you look, it's just there. It's on you.
Yeah. That's what
residue that we get stuck on us, right? That narcissistic residue that we get on us.
Yeah. I mean, and which is compounded by if you have a narc who goes Amber Heard on you, drives you crazy and then starts, recording things. I've had smear streams done about me using voicemails when I was going through it, when I was being targeted. It's just to see he's the narcissist. See, he's the real, But what I have found is that when people try to come out in public, and I think from several comments we've gotten here, I think you guys will understand, when a narcissist attacks you in public, own it. Take the power away. Own it. Own what you did. Own where you were. Explain it as much as you wish to, because it is a part of the abuse. It is proof of what you went through and how crazy you were made to be. But I have found, for me personally, owning my history, owning up to it, what was going on, and just, I can't say anything more, but forgive myself or forgive anybody that I may have hurt on the sidelines. And you just, it takes the power away from the narcissist who's trying to smear you.
I got a funny story on that real quick about that. So the
Sure.
narcissists, obviously they all love to record, you know, and the narcissist, it's really hard to go no contact right out the gate. So during that, you know, after the ninth and final discard, there was a gap of time where, you know, there was a lot of back and forth, me trying to hold them accountable. One day they sent me this recording and it was me very mad and obviously provoked into reactive abuse and all this. You're the abuser, da, da, da. And I said, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I took that audio and I ended up making a TikTok video out of it to show exactly what you said. Here is what reactive abuse was. What I found interesting is I remember, and it did really well. It performed really well.
Good.
And I remember, like, one of the most crazy things about it is when I would listen back to the recording, and I remember the argument, but when she sent it over and I'm listening to it, I could actually freaking hear her mocking me now, right?
Wow.
So she got it real close to her. So in it, when you're in it live, I can't hear her mocking me, right? I just know that she's provoking me in a circular conversation. You know, you can hear me saying, well, this is the 10th time we talked about it. I just don't understand why you don't remember. How do you not remember? Am I going crazy? What are we've already talked about this, but then you can hear her laughing and giggling and mocking me during this exchange. And that's when I heard that, you know, that was another, we talk about recovery, like of narcissistic abuse. It's like an onion, you're peeling those layers. And I really got to pull another layer back because I really got to hear the excitement and joy they were getting out of provoking me into that reactive abuse. And this is when I did a video, everybody can go check it out, but they love it. This is one of their favorite tactics, is to provoke you into chaos, right? Into confusion, into rage, so they can record you and then, you know, further the ploy of you being the abuser.
Yeah.
Coach Randy, that's a boss move, man. That is an awesome move. And I'm sure it did well because being genuine is something a narcissist can't be. You know, we could step up and say, hey, we did this and this is what was going on, but using it as an example like you did not only took the power away from the narcissist, but it also helped to show other people who have been down on the road we've been, they're not alone. This is normal. Well, it's not normal, but it's normal behavior for someone going through narcissistic abuse. You know, beautiful. Well done, Randy. That's incredible.
More people will empathize with that if you just explain it. People just need to know what the phrase reactive abuse is, and many people have explained it. And once you explain it, it's a very simple tactic, which Teal Swan calls the sickest game. She has a video about that called The Sickest Game. Everybody knows Teal Swan. And when you just explain that you are provoked into a reaction, it's because I've been there. I was recorded going and using F this, and you know, I was really upset. But you don't see what happened before they turned on the camera.
Yep.
You don't hear that. You don't hear what they said to you.
Right.
And when you explain, no, you don't know what happened right before the camera started rolling.
No.
You're just seeing me act badly. And I admit I'm not proud of this, but this was a setup.
Yeah.
People can understand that.
Yeah.
And they'll empathize with it.
It's very much a setup. They're very calculating.
And it's one of the things that one of the positive things to come out of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial is not just for men being shown that women do this, that there is personality disorders that do this behavior, but for everyone, for all of us, it kind of vindicates our claims, our truths, what we've been through, to have had such a high profile case where you had a woman who was provoking Johnny Depp and then recording him, you know, to make him look crazy. It's a sick cycle.
The sickest game. Yep.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Please smash the like button if you would. If you're a flying monkey, hit that dislike. I love you too. And please make sure to share out the link and look in the description, please. I have Shawn K Howerton's Instagram pinned, or I think our link tree pinned at the top of the chat. If you guys would please support her, check out her content, see if you like it, subscribe, follow, and also Coach Randy White. Let's build his YouTube channel up. This man's killing on TikTok. He's building his Instagram. He's got less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So let's get that 1,000 up, guys. Let the Dragonstorm community come together and help him out. Greatly appreciate you.
My first, when I originally had this vision, it was always about YouTube, and I always thought I would pop on YouTube first, but TikTok went real quick, so I was just like,
go with what works.
Do you have like the original copies of all of your TikTok videos? Because maybe you can put them all as shorts, or at least vertical video on YouTube, and then the algorithm will start making those work for you. Is it?
I got a few of them. The iPhones anymore. You the more content you create, your memory gets trashed, your phone slows down.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I haven't been really good as far as strategy, but I think, I'm a year in now, so I'm kind of looking at different avenues to start making that happen. YouTube is something I want to do education, narcissistic coaching and educational vlog style into my life and my brand and some of the things that I'm doing. So hopefully I'll be getting that kicked off here in the next couple of weeks, but I'm starting to kind of strategize more on how to implement YouTube now into the picture, because we got, obviously, TikTok is doing really well. Instagram's starting to take off, and now I'm going to start putting a little more attention to YouTube.
Yeah, maybe more long play videos on YouTube, like a half an hour hangout, or have a topic and talk about it.
When it comes to YouTube, Mr. 90K subscribers, he built a channel of 90,000. Scott's very knowledgeable. He can give you some great advice. He's been helping me out. I built a network before and helped YouTubers grow. I also I expanded out into TikTok and Instagram. So actually, I have some tips for you that I do a rotation among those three. But I also make sure to have specific content for each one, because they each has to have their own flavor. But after the show,
then I appreciate that. Exactly. What I was hoping for.
You got this, Randy. You're on the same page, brother. All right, let's take a look at another one, and I'm going to bring that back to the stage this time and remember it. Thank you, Stephen. And let's go with "You Are Better Than the Narcissist."
I have you clients all the time, and I was there too. I really want to drive home. You deserve better than the narcissist. You deserve someone who doesn't lie to you, cheat on you, gaslight you, put you down, make you beg for attention, make you beg, period, treat you less than, triangulate you. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Monetary abuse. I mean, physical, emotional, spiritual, verbal. I mean, whatever the case may be, these people are monsters. They are not your friend. They are not your partner. They are not looking out for your best interest. They are your competitor. They enjoy putting you down. They enjoy your pain. They enjoy seeing you being less than what you could be. If you have the right partner, you should feel amazing, handsome, beautiful, capable. You should feel like somebody has your back. It should be a feeling of you against the world, the two of you, not the two of you against one another. They like to pit people. They love to pit people. They love to triangulate. They love to do anything and everything they can to make themselves feel bigger, better, in control, whatever the case may be, because they're pathetic excuses of people. They're black souls. They only care about themselves. They'll never care about you, ever.
She got a little testy in that one. I liked it because that's my flavor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was ready to see that from her a little bit. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Man, Coach, would you mind speaking of what you thought of that video?
Yeah, no, I mean, she's dead on, right? Like, so I kind of always tell everybody, look, we have a God-given worth, right? We are all so worthy of amazing things, but it's really about understanding, when you get out of these relationships, it's all about going back to the beginning, right? Dealing with the childhood trauma, really, building that self-worth and that self-belief up. But she nailed it right on. I mean, nobody deserves the bare minimum. Love is not abuse. It doesn't work that way. Love is authentic, vulnerable, compassionate, patient, transparent. And what these narcissists do are exact opposite, right? It's all destructive. It's all control, manipulation, superiority. It's like they have this God complex and they just want ultimate control over you and the narrative of how the world sees you. And that's why the smear campaign comes in. But everybody needs to realize we have a God-given worth. Like, we are from source. So if we're from source, we're worth something. I mean, you look it down to the basics. I mean, 7 million sperms went up the canal, and you were the one that made it and got impregnated and were born. You're valuable and you're worthy, but it's up to you to unlock your potential in your mind. Do the work, find the work, set the boundaries, and never go back to that. That's not love. Begging for the bare minimum or just human decency is not love in any shape, way, shape, or form.
Amen, Coach. Absolutely.
Can I just drive that home with what the Apostle Paul wrote about love? And he, in the King James, the word is sort of replaced with charity, but it basically says charity suffereth long, which basically in other versions would say love is patient. Love is patient. Love is kind. It envies not. It vaunteth itself up not, or it vaunteth not itself, meaning it doesn't prop itself up. It's not puffed up. It does not behave itself unseemly. It does not seeketh her own. It is not easily provoked. It thinks no evil. It rejoices not in iniquity, but it rejoices in the truth. It bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes in all things. It endures all things. Love never fails, but and then he goes into like prophecies and stuff like that. But it says, I guess we could leave it there. He kind of starts drifting into something else, but those are the attributes of what is known as charity or love. And it's just, it doesn't envy, it doesn't puff itself up. Well,
this is one of the biggest tricks of the enemy too, right? If we look at the way, say 90% of the, I don't know what the percentage will be, but people that tend to deal with toxic relationships, we were conditioned to believe that love is work, that it's hard, that no marriage is perfect, no relationship's perfect, and everybody goes, and that's just not accurate. And it's really due to a lack of knowledge that the generations before us had, right? They thought that that's what you were supposed to do, and it's just been a generational conditioning. But what you just read is really what love represents to me. It's peaceful, it's calm, it's understanding, it's patient. It works outside. It's egoless, right? It's all about service, right? We're here for experience and service, not to be enmeshed in idolization. And that's where narcissists get really crazy, is because as victims, we tend to almost put them on a pedestal during this, love bombing. And then we get so hooked on their validation, and that's part of the trauma bond, right? So it's almost like they become an idol. It's like they boost us up so much that we're sharing in this delusional fantasy with them and boosting them up at the same time and kind of idolizing them.
I was talking. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
What Randy just said is that, let's see, where is it? I have a meme for that. Here it is. It says, I got a meme on my phone. I saved it from something that I saw. It says, narcissists live on a diet of fantasies, secrets, and lies. The truth destroys the narcissist, so they will go to any length to bury it. Correct. So absolutely. Randy said that they live. It's a fantasy, and I understand where you're going with that. They pull you into a shared fantasy where you don't realize that so much of what they're telling you is like future faking, and they're telling you lies about their past. They're telling you lies about the future. They're telling you lies about what's happening right now. And because you come from a place like, I don't go out of my way to lie to people. I mean, if I'm going to lie, it's just to, if somebody, I say, I can't do that. I can't do that tonight. I got to organize my sock drawer. That's about the extent. But these people lie like about their future, the present, and the past. And you start living in that delusion because they're telling you what they think that you want to hear. And then, of course, that's not going to hold water, and it's all going to crumble at some point. And then you're left devastated because it's kind of like this whole backdrop, this painting that was painted, it just falls, and you realize that scene is not true. It's like you're in Auschwitz and you thought you were in Hawaii.
This is the number one reason for cognitive dissonance, which to me is the most important aspect that you need to overcome in order to really recover from narcissistic abuse, because it completely melts your brain. When you finally wake up and you realize that not only is this a fantasy world, this fantasy reality, but that you co-created it, it just fucking melts your brain, because you're just like, oh my God, like it was real to me, but now it wasn't real to them. And it's almost like, I remember being so taken back that I could honestly feel all of the confusion of that reality. It was no longer just thinking like, oh, I'm confused. It was like, it was just started to melt, like it never even existed. It was the most freaky epiphany or peeling of the onion that I had. It's just like your brain melts.
Yeah, one of the things that broke me, because I've gone through many realizations I didn't want to see. And one of them was I added to the fantasy. Like, I was in love. I wanted Narc X to be somebody that she wasn't going to be. And whether what she was telling me or not, like, I really wanted that love, that twin flame, that soulmate thing to happen. I wanted it to exist. So I gaslit and bullshit myself. And then as you continue on, whether you are being forced to coerce to the narcissist narrative under threat or duress, or you really want to believe the stories that they're telling you, you do kind of support their narrative and their falsehood and that false self. You know, and I think that also adds to one of the things, depending on how long you guys were with your narc, if you were like apologizing for your abuser or like protecting your abuser, because there was plenty of times I was like, she's not as bad as you think. No, I was upset. I was in the wrong. You know, she's not this, she's not that. Because the love bomb comes in, and then you want to protect what you believed in. You want to protect that fantasy that you had. I've said it before and I'll say it again, guys. Twin flames, all right, the chaser runner thing, toxic. Okay, twin flames are not good. I honestly think they're more empath narcissist related. That's where I think that twin flame legend comes from. And
Let me ask, can I ask something real quick about that, though? You talk, a lot of people talk about this, what, like the empath narcissist dance. A lot of people out here on TikTok, they think that, you know, empaths attract narcissists, narcissists are targeting empaths, blah, blah, blah. What's your take on that?
Narcissists seek out people who they recognize are unhealed, or don't have weak boundaries, or too giving, compassionate, forgiving. So one of the natural prey for a narcissist would be an unhealed empath. And an unhealed empath, which I think a lot of us are, before we heal ourselves, is someone who went through childhood traumas, who overthinks, maybe an isolationist, but that because of their abandonment, codependency, or because their weak boundaries, they want everyone else to feel good. If you're an unhealed empath, you feel pain inside. You don't feel your worth. And so you want everyone around you to feel their worth. You want everyone around you to feel good about themselves. You know, because it makes us feel good. It made me feel good to do that. But you ignore the signs. You ignore the red flags. You ignore when someone does something mean and then they come back to you with an excuse. Not an apology, not a recognition, not a real apology and recognition of someone did, but when they are bullshitting you, you eat that up because you're like, I understand, I have pain inside me, I went through things when I was a kid, I get it, I forgive you, it's okay, we're going to work through this. So the dance is, and this is why I think there's a strong parallel between narcissistic personality disorder and what we call empaths now, because I really believe that most empaths go through traumas and then have to go on their own healing journey to become someone who's a coach, a support system, you know, someone who can properly build others up. Empath has to learn you have to be strong before you can help anybody else. And whereas narcissists are energy vampires, they do kind of create an illusion. They're masters of illusion. But it's all the energy that's going into that. Eventually they need it back. And so when they run into an empath who constantly forgives, weak boundaries, it's a cycle. Yeah. They also, I think, because of the self-loathing aspect, and I'm not sure if this is true with all narcissists, but the part of them that hates themselves, that recognizes what they're doing, and like, you know, that part of them, I think that they kind of get off on destroying good people because it's for them, it's like, well, look how terrible I made that person. Look how awful they are. Everybody's like me. It's not just me. They don't want to feel alone. So I'm sorry, I know I went a little off track there, but did that answer your question, Randy?
No, you're spot on. I say the same thing. I mean, of course, again, we align. I always tell everybody, I don't think it's necessary. Narcissists want something, whether it's money, sex, clout, admiration, attention. What they're hoping for is an unhealed empath who doesn't have boundaries. That is essentially what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But is there an attraction? I don't think so. I think narcissists just want what they want, and they're hoping this person doesn't have any boundaries.
Well, I think energetically, I've kind of come into these realizations in the last couple of months. The healing journeys, learning, experience. I believe that actually people who, whether they're empaths or not, if you are just a very compassionate, empathetic person with weak boundaries, I think that the narcissist serves a function in this world as waking that person up, hurting them so bad that that person has no choice but to do the healing work, and become better. So, I mean, within the realm of the world, when it, like we talked about God and the devil, we talked about the duality of good and evil. They're both do serve functions. And if you are a person who survives dealing with a demon, narcissist, like a really, a demonic individual, and you can grow from that, and you can become more compassionate and stronger, and like have strong boundaries and recognize the quality and value of truth and being good to each other, then that narcissist actually performed a positive function in that way.
100%.
Because it helped us to.
That's one of the things I said, that I'm at that stage of the healing journey now, where I'm able to recognize the importance of this narcissist in my life, right? I wanted to do exactly what I'm doing right now before I met this person. They came into my life. I woke up. This was my opportunity to wake up. So there was a very divine purpose in this narcissist being in my life. So amen. Amen, Stephen.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Scotty, how do you feel about that? And as far as God and, the light and dark, good and evil?
Going back a few minutes, the duality, the difference, the black and white of the relationship of the narcissist and the empath. This has been something that, since my eyes have been opened in the last couple of years, I now can look back I can go back 20 years and see that this recent thing is not as new as I thought it was. I can go back and say, oh my gosh, that person and that girl I dated was, oh my gosh, and she was and he was like, now my eyes, I'm awake. I get it. I see this, when before I thought everybody was just supposed to be nice to each other. And that's kind of how I lived my life, as a nice guy. And I didn't understand why they would say nice guys finish last and only the good die young in the song. I didn't understand that until now.
Yeah.
And it's because we are food for vampires. But there's another woman who posts on social media called, is it Jen, the Enlightened Target, she calls herself.
Oh, I like her. Yeah.
And so she's in the same way that in past streams I said that I feel like a monster magnet. That is another way of saying is that I was targeted. I'm a targeted individual, but she calls herself the Enlightened Target. So you're not a target that's just like, go ahead and shoot me. Now you're enlightened, and you can put up the boundaries so that arrow can't get and hit you, but you're still a target. And you need to come to grips with that. And so the narcissist is the one that is aiming at you, and the empath is the target. The empath doesn't have weapons. The empath isn't going out on offense. The empath ends up having to defend themselves when they didn't even realize it. The empath, they just thought they were a member of the crowd. They didn't realize they were on the playing field. And and then you realize that, oh, wait a second, I'm on defense. Wait a second, I thought I was just in the crowd.
I
just had popcorn, hot dogs, get your hot dogs. And you realize that you're on the playing field, and you're like, okay, I'm awake. I get it. Okay, wait a second.
So one of the lessons that I learned that was hard, coming up in the fandom menace sphere that I was in, is that I thought everybody was like me. I thought, we're all good. We're all fighting the good fight. We're all fighting against, socio-political propaganda being used, in our entertainments. And I encountered toxic people, and I would point them out. I was like, that person's evil. They're a liar. Like, that person's scheming. What I didn't understand was that I did not understand we're not all the same. There are different types of people. The value of my word and the value of my actions are not held to the same standard. Everyone does not hold that to the same standard. So being truthful and forthright.
Randy said that in the beginning of the stream. You were playing one of Randy's shorts, and he said, I think it was you, Randy. You said, these people don't even have morals. Or somebody I saw today said that.
Yeah, I did it. Well, one of my videos was how they're morally bankrupt. At the end of the day, they're just morally bankrupt.
Yeah.
It's not just narcissists, but just toxic people. There's just unhealed people out there who are just toxic, or may not have a literal personality disorder. But I would point them out. And one of the things, as I said, that I didn't understand was that other people already understood this. So when I was calling someone out, everybody else in the room would be quiet. And it took me going through narc abuse to understand. If you're in a room full of people and a snake walks in, the snake goes, hi, and everybody goes, hi, and then just shuts up, they're not feeding that toxic person fuel. And that's why everybody just acts like, oh, how you doing, to a fake person. Like, okay, how you doing? You know, they don't interact too much. They just kind of par them off. Because if you're the person who points the finger at that toxic person and says that's a snake, not only have you triggered that snake, but any network of toxic people that they operate in are all going to be alerted to the fact that someone called someone out for their fakeness, and then they go on the offensive. And that happened to me for years before I understood it. Guys, sometimes walking away, not saying anything, and I hate to say this because I don't like to say be fake, but if a fake smile and a hi and a hand wave helps you to avoid dealing with a toxic situation, a toxic person, do it. Do it. Because honestly, liars don't deserve the truth, and they don't deserve the real you. So if you know somebody's fake and they're like that, just be fake back. Hi, give them the same back. Do not engage.
They're not going to do the right thing with the truth, and they're not going to do the right thing with you. So they don't deserve the truth, and they don't deserve you. That also, what you just said, Stephen, reminded me of another meme on my phone, which says, someone once said, water has no effect on fake flowers. And that changed my entire mindset regarding relationships. Water has no effect on fake flowers. So therefore, don't feed the fake flowers.
Well said. Before we go on to the last video, I want to say, Mr. Tickle Trunk says he's celebrating now, Randy. He says he was the best sperm, the best swimmer ever, and he's thanking you for that. So appreciate you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Jillian's in the chat. What's up to my international audience? Hail my brothers and sisters across the pond. Jillian's over there in Italy, and when Immortal Coil comes back, he's going to take a trip to Italy. I think there's some kind of romance forming. I don't know. I'm not saying that, Jillian. I'm just saying. Coil does like you. He talks an awful lot about you. And just want to say thank you to everybody else who showed up. Please smash that like button. And after the stream, if you could leave a comment, I'd greatly appreciate that. Real quick, I just want to say hi to Lizzie, one of our sisters out there, survivors. She says, yep, before I knew what narcissism was, mine would try to convince me we had to work it out. So I said, well, then you have to change. I'm not working with a demon. Then I heard the word narcissism 6 weeks later. And I was like, for real. Yeah, well, you had to get educated, Lizzie. You know, you had to work on you, and I'm glad that you did, and I'm glad you got there, and I'm glad you're here, sharing wisdom and supporting others in this chat. Angela says, Lodonis, I hope you're listening to what Randy and Scott talk about what love is. You know what? I'm just gonna get personal for like 60 seconds, Angela, okay? And say that, you know, I was talking to somebody, and I noticed why you were worried, and I was talking to somebody, and they told me they had to take a time out because they're also healing from a narcissistic relationship. And instead of being toxic, because I wanted to be toxic in my fifis and think maybe she was a narc and think maybe that she was ghosting me or maybe she was playing games, instead of doing that, I looked at myself and I said, if I'm going to do this, if I'm a survivor of narcissistic abuse and I talk about this all the time, then I need to do what a narcissist does not do. First off, I need to respect another person in their healing journey and who they are and understand what they're telling me, listen to what they're telling me, and respect that. And that helped to make our association even stronger. We took a little bit of time out. We had a talk. We discussed that. So I hope I'm on the right track, Ange. And I greatly appreciate you for looking out for me. Also want to say hi to Kevin Jung out there. Thank you to Beth out there smacking with the band hammer. Out on the trolls showing up. Thank you to Illuminating Manuscripts and everybody else that's here. Greatly love and appreciate you. Let's move forward to our final video.
Home stretch.
Oh man, I almost did it. All right, I'm 1 out of 4. I'm 1 out of 4, Scott.
You're doing great.
I did.
You're doing great, man. It looks
Thanks,
good.
man.
The stream looks the best it's ever looked.
I appreciate that.
Probably because we're here.
You keep showing memes from your phone, and it reminds me, like, my phone is full of memes too. And I put on Facebook the other day, because this is just the blatant truth. My Instagram feed is full of narcissistic abuse coaches and women with daddy issues. And I'm sorry. That's just who I am. I'm healing, guys. I promise. I'm not chasing the daddy issues no more. I'm just saying. All right, let's get started.
So I get the question all the time, Shawn, does the narcissist just get away with it? I remember feeling that way for a long time. I was just like, how could this person dump all of their crap on me? And I took it to the point where, you know, I didn't want to be here anymore. And how did they just walk off and, you know, like nothing, you know, like it didn't even matter. They don't even have 1 minute of self-reflection or remorse or pain or, I mean, yeah. But guess what? They don't get away with it. They don't get away with it. They age terribly. They have to live with their own karma every day of putting people, you know, think about their lives. It's full of nothing but lies, manipulation, putting themselves first. They never have a true connection with anyone. They don't know how to give of themselves in order to love someone fully or accept someone else. They can't take any type of criticism because it causes a narcissistic injury. They're always on the defense and they're always in competition. And could you imagine living your life like that every day? Talk about no peace. So, you know, when you hear that the daily life of the narcissist is their karma, you better believe it.
I just want to say that I am begrudgingly a fan of Batman 3. You guys remember that horrible one with the bat nipples? And Two-Face had in his house, he had a woman dressed in all black and then a woman dressed in all white. And I just want to say Shawn is the all white version in my universe where Lisa Lou is the dark one. Because she is so Lisa out there on fire, spitting fire, telling narcissists about themselves, and Shawn is very calm, very comforting, soothing, very direct, and but still the message rings true. The narcissist has nothing to offer you, and they live in a cycle of abuse and using people. They will eventually get to a point where everybody knows who they are. Everybody, they will get to a point where they lose that charm. They lose that their looks or whatever it is they depended on. You know, even cerebral narcissists who must get to a point where people just understand who they are, and nobody who's going to want to support you in old age, who's going to want to take care of you, who's going to want to do the hard work of being a good child to their parent and having to take care of them. Narcissists will always get their karma. It is not your job to see it, brothers and sisters. It's not your job to see it. I know you want to. I know you want accountability. You want closure. I know you want these things, but you have to trust. You have to trust in God. You have to trust in source. You have to trust in good, and understand that a person cannot live a life where they are using people over and over again, heartbreakingly, destruction, targeted harassment, smear campaigning their names, stealing from people. Just you can't live like that and it not come back to you. You can't. You might not see it, and maybe it's not your job to see it. That's where you've got to kind of just let it go. Stay no contact. Don't look, and understand that however you view source, Lord, Lady, if you're an atheist, if you're agnostic, however you view like just human behavior, just decent human behavior, understand it will come to a point in the cycle that they live where it will come back to them. So a wonderfully said video from Shawn K Howerton. Scotty, how do you feel about that?
Well, number one, I can't see you.
I know I'm coming back on.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you didn't notice. Yeah. What I love about Shawn and her messages is that you can just tell she doesn't even have to say it, but she resonates. It's just 2 words: power boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And mm-hmm. It's just great, power boundaries. And she is so awake because of what she's been through, just as we all are. But some of us have to learn how to communicate these things to get to the level of being a coach. Randy's clearly there. Steven, you're closer to that than I am. And I just really appreciate the ability to articulate these things, especially in a calm manner, but with power. And it's just great. And she's just absolutely right. She's absolutely right. The narcissist is you can live your life like this. Some say that they don't have a choice. It just is who they are. They don't even know who they are. There isn't, it's a black soul. There's not something real in there that has the ability to change, but it's literally just going to just suck. They're just going to crumble and die. They're not radiating. It's this.
Yeah, and you know what? The devil blesses them for so long. You know, I'm sorry to just interject real quick. You know, when it comes to like the spiritual battle here, the way that I look at it is the devil blesses people that are doing his work. All right, but eventually that person's not going to be able to perform, and that's when the devil comes after them. That's when the devil consumes them. You know, when a narcissist gets to the end of their life, darkness is going to eat its own. This is not a healthy cycle. So I didn't mean to cut you off, Scotty.
No, that's exactly right. It's just like I don't know. If you're in a cult and you try to escape, they will destroy you. They will eat their own. That's a great phrase. I mean, some people would even say that there's a certain political party that will eat its own. That's what this is, because that's what evil does. It has to consume anything, and it doesn't even care that it's. I mean, there's that thing. What's it called? The Ouroboros, where the snake's eating its own tail. That's what this is. It just consumes. It doesn't care what.
Coach, how do you feel about that video? Or you have any
No,
comments?
he's spot on. You know, I mean, I think one of the most common things that, you know, survivors deal with is the injustice, right? It's the immediate injustice. It's a very sick, insidious form of abuse. And I don't even really think it's abuse. I think it's a full-on assault, because you're dealing with all of the different kinds of abuse. You're dealing with financial, sexual, mental, psychological, you know, all of these different, you know, forms of abuse in one. It's a full-on assault. So, but energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred or converted, right? So narcissists, they just continually to keep all this negative energy inside of them. You know, they're doing all of this dirty work, and karma is real. It's going to come back. And like you said, it's not for us to see. But one thing to understand is it's not always eye for an eye, right? It's going to be, they're going to get their karma. It can be in any kind of form, but they don't go on to live great lives. They turn out old, jaded, lost their looks, don't have any finances. Nobody wants to be around them. They don't have any, you know, real emotional, authentic, truthful, transparent connections with anybody. So, and they typically, they just start to really abuse their kids at this point, because they want to live vicariously through the kids, right? This is their last shot. And this is why the kids of narcissistic abuse get it even worse. A lot of times the golden child, you know, is expected to be that extension of the narcissist in order to go out and do the narcissist's bidding when the narcissist can't anymore. So they live pathetic lives at the end of the day. These are very simple, basic, pathetic people.
Yes. Well said. Coach, you got to come back for one of the more yellier content creators. All right, you got, because we got fire. I can sense the fire in you.
I love it. Anytime. I like you guys a lot, man. I think you guys are great. I love what you're doing.
This is a lot
That's
of fun.
awesome. Yeah, if you're available to come back next Sunday, please do.
Yeah, we'll line it up.
Awesome. I just want to say, Angela, all right, look, I'm already intimidated a little bit by you, which is why I mess with you, but I see you speaking Italian in the chat with Jillian. And I know, so now I know you're Italian Philly. I'm a little more intimidated, is all I'm saying, Angela. I don't know what your family's involved in. I'm just saying, I'm a little more intimidated now. All right, just, you know, maybe we shouldn't have coffee. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to end up in the Delaware or anything. You know what I'm saying? I love you, Angela. I will support you. Support me. Let's see. Scott, what is your final assessment of what you have seen from Shawn K Howerton today?
Really appreciate Shawn's demeanor. Again, she's a mother of 4. She almost was not with us twice due to narcissistic abuse. She has used it. She did not crumble and die. She used it, her education to, gosh, can you imagine the strength it would take to pull out of the things that it looks like she's been through to become someone that decided to shift her focus to help as many people as possible, because she saw that this was a calling worth pursuing, as Randy has also, even before he went through that abuse. It's just a power move that is just so respectable. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Okay. Coach Randy White, what do you think?
I think she's amazing. She very, her demeanor is amazing. The calmness, but the power, as Scott had perfectly stated, just a few minutes ago, is absolutely spot on. I'm a speech and debate geek. I've got years and years of speech and debate. I think she articulates well. It flows well. She stays on point. And she delivers a very good message in that flow of the way she's presenting it. So I mean, I'll give her an A, no doubt. She's a very good speaker, and that's what I always look for. To me, it's like you have different content creators. Some are going to be a little bit more funny, some are going to just kind of be all over the board, but I like somebody who can deliver a very powerful, impactful message that makes you think, and I think she's done that very well.
When I first started doing this content, I was looking at different types of creators. One of the reasons why I may not have seen Shawn, or I've seen her in passing, is a lot of this journey for me has been, the healing journey has been angry, just working on myself, and going through all the mud. And so I looked for like more angry, yelly type of people, because I needed to be told. I needed that boost. I needed to be told that I was doing wrong, or I needed to be have that big brother reinforcement. But I've watched people who do this type of content who are very soft, strong, stern, compassionate, motherly. I would definitely give her she has a matriarchal energy that is wonderful. And I asked myself, how can I get to that point? How am I ever going to get to that point? I don't want to hear the soft calm. Now that I've gotten to where I am, I find a true appreciation for someone who understands that you are dealing with people who are at different stages of trauma, who may just be coming out of it and really need mom. They really need someone who has that motherly energy to them, which she does. For a woman who was in a relationship with a narcissist for 23 years, almost lost her life several times, had a complete family with this person, which means she has to gray rock to an extent. I don't know how old her kids are, but if they're, at a point where she has to communicate between parents, she's had to gray rock. She's had to go through that and heal. And coming back from being suicidal, which is something that I have done, I can tell you that before I was driven to that point, I thought that people who were suicidal were cowards. I thought they were the weakest of the weak. Let's just let the weak die off. Let the weak in the herd die. And it wasn't until I got to that point that I realized anyone, no matter how strong you think you are, under the right conditions or unhealed with not having strong boundaries, you absolutely can be susceptible to someone driving you to the point of wanting to unalive yourself because of how much you hate yourself, your situation, and everything that's going on around you. For her to survive that, continue on, create content, become a coach, and now guiding other people, I think is a prime example of why I believe we should take this as a learning experience to empower ourselves, to love ourselves, be a better friend to ourselves, because then we can lead by example for others. And I think Shawn K Howerton has done that. She has my heart, really. This is it's been a pleasure getting to know her and her content, and I wish her wish her the best in the future.
Absolutely. If I could just add on to that, what you say about the how some people need a mother, that type of a voice to help them through, because maybe that's the exact fit for them. She fits that. Yeah. Other people need that coach when you're on the bench press and you're like on rep 12 and you don't have it in you, but you got this, your coach is screaming and you're push it, go, and you're like, and you can get it, and you can make that happen because it was screaming at you. That's also a fit for some people.
Yeah. There's one creator, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, and I should, because I've been checking him out from the beginning. He yells. He's I think he's a Latino cat. I don't know. Randy, maybe you've seen him. He's got bald head.
Yeah.
You know what? We got to bring him up at some point just so I can show you guys. But he will just I'm going to curse him on channel. Don't you fucking go back. Don't you fucking go back.
Yeah.
Out of his mouth.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he gets very assertive, right?
Yeah. Like you could tell when he was at the healing stages. And, something Coyle said to me, 6-7 months ago, which is, Steve, I feel like when you're doing videos, you're talking to yourself. Yeah, sometimes I am. Or sometimes I was, absolutely. But you could tell that he did that and then got to a point we started doing coaching So now he has these two different types of videos. He has the one where he's yelling, and he has the one where he's just being like himself, like his healed self, saying, look, I do this because you need to be motivated. You need to be told. Some people need to be told. If you need to be told, then come to a coaching class, because I will tell you what you need to do and to stop making an ass out of yourself. Yeah. And some people need that, that reinforcement. But like, I never, until I just watched, many of Shawn's videos, I had kind of steered away from the very calm, that the energy that she was putting off. But I see definitely the advantage in women who have been through, women who are shaken, women who are like, in a hotel room or in the middle of making an escape plan, needing someone like that calmly explaining to them, this is what it is, this is your worth, this is what you need to do.
I've had many women who have, they love my content, but they said, that I'll trigger them because I am a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more loud. And I'm like, I love that they love the content. I get it. It's not going to work for everybody, because on the other side, I got women who absolutely wouldn't deal with a calm person. They want the in your face, screaming on the bench press.
Yeah, you wouldn't want a trainer being, come on, give me another rep. Just you can do it. I know you have it in you. Give me another rep.
I've actually told people on lives that, they're like, why are you screaming or whatever? Well, it's because I'm a coach, not a therapist. If you need, coddling, that might be a better direction. But essentially, I'm here to drive home a message, and I'm very assertive and very to get.
Yeah, Randy, when I was overthinking it, months back, I tried different things, because people would come through and say, yo, man, calm down, or something that affected me. And I wanted to be the best that I could be. And so I did try different things, but I eventually came to the realization that I am I. And so what I do is what I do. People that need the message, the way that I say the message, will be attracted to me. There's no wrong way to do it, I think, unless you're giving the bad advice of mirroring the narc. Guys, please don't do that. I know I have my phase, but don't do that. It's, there's a different style out there for everybody, and you're going to find who it is that you resonate with, who you like. And so keep doing the content the way that you need to do it. And that's advice for any of you guys out there watching this who are thinking about doing this. Join in, man. There needs to be more of us. Speak your truth, speak your experience. You survived one of the most horrific situations in your life and came out, and you're a survivor. Now be a thriver, grow, work on yourself, do the things you need to, get into hobbies, feel better about yourself. Know your worth, and don't shut up. Don't shut up about your experiences, about what you went through. Don't allow all the smear campaigns, whatever's left over from that, the people that you've lost in your life, or whatever platform you were on. Like, don't let that image be who you are. That's not who you are. You are a representation of yourself. So make your actions commit to the fact that you're healing, you've healed, you're working on yourself, you take accountability, you're a better version of yourself, you're better than you were then. Because that story, like Randy, like Scott, like anybody else who makes this type of content, that story could be the difference between someone giving up and going back, or giving up and unaliving themselves, and being around one more day to push that they can survive this and live and be a better person. It's important. And I really do appreciate Randy and Scotty for doing what they do. And everybody else in the chat who's been here for me this entire time, kept me on the up and up, has seen me go through all my Hoovers and all the phases and everything, and still believed in me. Shout out to Tina Bojan, people like Mr. Tickle Trunk, people like Papa Cotton, people like Adventures with Beth, who have been there for damn near the whole ride. Nikki Red, I love you guys, and you have been my support system. And it's been invaluable to me. Any closing thoughts on Shawn Howerton?
She gets an A+ from me.
A+.
All right. Yeah, A+. All right.
If she sees this, a direct thank you, Shawn. Yeah. Good work.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you to every single week. We're doing this show every week because I wanted to begin, learn more, first off, because I am still learning. See how other content creators do their thing. I understand that the space is so big, I wanted to introduce who I could to more followers, subscribers, somebody who may help them, because we support each other in this indie sphere. We rise together. And it's been a beautiful experience. I'm so happy. I got to meet Scott, got to meet Randy. And all right. So Scotty, tell us about your channel and what you're doing over there, and where they can find you.
Well, I have 2 channels. One has a little over 90,000 subscribers, but that one I've been doing Bible studies for like 15 years. That one is
Mr.
not,
90K.
well, it's just there's a lot of people who, you know, like
I
the
got to
Christian
talk trash
stuff.
a little bit, all right? I got to show a little bit of insecurity, Scotty. I'm only at 10.
Well, that channel I've had since 2008. So, I mean, you literally, it took me till 2012 to get 10,000 subscribers. So
Yeah.
that was a lot slower. So you're
Beautiful.
rocking it. You're moving quick. And I don't even really pump a lot of stuff out on that channel. And I had more, and you know, if you don't keep moving forwards, you tend to regress. But
Yes.
I also have a new channel, which I'm, you know, still trying to figure out how to do. I'm enjoying hanging out with you, Stephen, and also this has been great hanging out with you as well, Randy, tonight. I got a lot on my mind about what I've been through, and I've been recording some things, but I haven't quite uploaded some things yet because I have a tendency to maybe get a little bit personal, and I'm not sure like how far I want to go with that. But I do have
Right.
a channel that I'm trying to figure out the right way to do this. What, in the same way Randy said that he had a vision, and you know, it takes some time to work at it, and finally it kind of hones into something. And I guess that just takes starting. But I'll let you know when I got some stuff going on.
All right, you let us know because we're going to share it out here. Thank you for being a part of the Dragonstorm community, Scotty. Once again, wonderful show. Can't wait till next week, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And Coach Randy White, tell these good people where they can find you and what you do.
Yeah, so basically I'm a toxic abuse recovery coach and narcissistic abuse and toxic abuse educator. Coach Randy White on all platforms, most active right now on TikTok and Instagram. Instagram is kind of more a little bit of a mix of my personal life as well. So, you know, where TikTok, I kind of stick really to educating and just recovery and a lot of education around, you know, tactics, traits, behaviors, patterns, stuff of that nature. And then Instagram's kind of the same, but a little bit more about me. And then of course, YouTube, like we talked about, looking to probably, you know, collaborate with these guys to figure out how to get my YouTube moving. So, but Coach Randy White on all platforms.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach. We appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, thank you. I totally enjoyed it, man. Great time.
Yeah, awesome. I have to say there was a little bit of a, first off, when you liked my TikToks and stuff and you interacted with me, like Narchammer does that too. I love Narchammer. It makes me feel better. Yeah, it makes me feel good. But you reaching out and saying thank you and participating here really means a lot. And I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot to be here. So thank you.
To all my brothers and sisters in the chat out there, thank you so much for being here. If you stayed the whole time, greatly appreciate you. If you're watching this later, please leave a comment on the stream. Let me know if there's a narcissistic abuse awareness recovery content creator you would like us to take a look at, and we will put that on the list. Guys, you can get through it. All right, we are at the point now where it's not just Steve Walton up here. I'm bringing other people around who have been through narcissistic abuse, people who have had narcissistic parents, people who have lived with it their entire lives. This chat is filled with wonderful survivors and thrivers of strength and quality. And everybody supports one another. And that's what this place is. It's a healing space, a place for awareness. And it's really everything that I've ever wanted to do. And I want to thank you watching, whether you're doing that now or later, for your participation, for your subscription, and sharing out videos and supporting this channel. I am Lodonis Ravenwolf Dragonstorm, you seer and sage. Hail to my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. Please remember to wash your hands, wash your hands. Be good to each other, yet suffer no fools.
When you're born in this world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. And when you're born in America, you're given a front row seat.
Beth, I seen you in the chat, and I know the other time I didn't say wash your hands, wash your ass. You had a problem with it, so I'm telling you right now, girl, get out there and wash your hands.